Next up in the Heat Check series is Colorado State's Nique Clifford, a 5-year collegiate player who's steadily seen his NBA stock rise throughout his career. He stands at a solidly built 6'5" without shoes with a 6'8" wingspan, pretty ideal size for a jumbo guard/wing. He played his first 3 seasons of college at Colorado before transferring to play for the Rams, most recently averaging 18.9 points, 9.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.2 steals, and 0.6 blocks per game while shooting 50% overall. 38% from 3 and 78% from the line. He's one of the older players in this class, having already turned 23 earlier this year. Here's how Heat Check works. I'm going to pick a draft prospect and grade them on the most generally important skills and aspects of their game: athleticism, scoring, defense, passing, and playmaking, as well as feel for the game. After those 5, I'll touch on one more skill relative to that prospect that I think is going to have the most impact on their draft stock. That will be deemed the swing skill. Each skill will be graded 1 through 5 on the Heat Check chart, the lowest being freezing and the highest scorching. When it's all said and done, I'll divvy out one final score. Starting with Nique Clifford's athleticism, we've gone with warm. His athleticism is a microcosm of his overall game, with him not really shining in any subcategory, but rather having such a nice blend of everything. As previously stated, I feel he's got prototypical size for a big guard/wing, standing at 6'5" with a +3 wingspan. He's pretty solid and just has a general big league type swagger to the way he moves and navigates the court. He's not a blow you away athlete in any facet, verticality, first step, lateral quickness, etc., but he's average to good in basically everything. He finished with 23 dunks in 36 games and should have just enough vertical pop to at least do damage in transition, cutting, and from the dunker spot. He's really coordinated, using impeccable footwork to position himself on both ends. He's just a very solid general mover with a blend of athletic skills that I feel like can help his NBA translation. For Nique Clifford's scoring, I've gone with warm. He has so much versatility and adaptability as a decently sized wing that I think he'll certainly find success in the NBA. Across his 36 games with CSU, Clifford scored an obvious team-high 18.9 points per game, doing so on 50% shooting from the floor, 38% from 3 on 5 attempts per game, and 78% from the line on good volume, 5 free throws attempted per game. One of the major benefits of a lengthy collegiate career can be working your way across a variety of roles and really familiarizing yourself with positional versatility. And Clifford is one of the best examples of this that I've seen. He averaged just 1 point as a Colorado freshman, 6 as a sophomore before similar production as a starter there in year 3. He then transferred to Colorado State, where he doubled his scoring output as a senior before becoming the guy as a super senior as one of the top scorers in the country. All that to say, Clifford's run the gamut of roles, having learned to be an effective on and off ball scorer. Most recently, he saw an awesome blend of jump shooting and at rim scoring, leaning more so the former for 52% of his points off field goals and getting 41% to go around the rim. He shot 66% at the rim in total, pointing to decent touch and his great use of physicality and ball control, posting a 37% free throw rate. In terms of just how he got into his offense, Clifford saw a massive on-ball boon in his 5th year. Even last year, he primarily scored spotting up, in transition, cutting, and on handoffs, but this season he scored a whopping 151 points as the pick and roll handler, converting 52% of those attempts for an excellent grade per synergy. And he also saw a huge boost in straight ISO scoring too. He still scored plenty spotting up, in transition, coming off screens, succeeding in those off-ball areas that he has for so long. Now, is Clifford going to be necessarily prolific as a scorer in the NBA? Are teams really going to heavily use him on the ball? Probably not, but there's simply too much versatility spread across his skill set to point to negative impact in my mind. In the least, he'll find an NBA niche and more than likely find multiple or many of them, in addition to on-ball roles and moderation. For Nique Clifford's defense, I've gone with warm. He should be a solid, high-floor, team-oriented defender in the NBA, or potentially even more if he offers less output on offense than some project. Across his last season, Clifford posted 43 steals and 22 blocks in total, good for 1.2 and 0.6 per game. His general defensive face value and advanced stats weren't as great, but before his added offensive load, he was a pretty stellar defensive playmaker. And the good news regarding Clifford's defense is that his best skill is likely defensive stopping, more so hounding at the point of attack and putting pressure on the ball in a team scheme rather than racking up pure stocks. His length, motor, and athleticism aid him here, with him using that great footwork, solid build, longer arms, and switchier style to make him switchable and fairly positionally versatile. For Nique Clifford's passing, I've gone with warm, and you're starting to get the trend at this point. Given his age and slower rise to success in this area, I've gone with warm, but honestly, he's a pretty talented passer relative to what his role will be in the NBA. Across his 36 games as a super senior, Clifford posted 160 total assists to 93 turnovers, good for 4.4 to 2.6 per game for a great assist to turnover ratio of nearly 1.7. He finished with an assist percentage of 27, highly impressive given his skill set, a number that could be indicative of some lead handling duties, and while I don't think Clifford is likely destined for those at a high rate, it could at least project him to offer some on-ball reps in moderation. The eye test effectively confirms that Clifford has some feel in this area. He's a good floor reader, very solid out of the pick and roll, able to put some zip on the ball all over the court and put it on the money more often than not. Again, Clifford feels bound for more of a connective wing role, which would pare down his passing some, but still leave plenty of the good stuff: ball moving, transition zips, some pick and roll funk, entry passes, which he's great at. All in all, this is another high floor area where Clifford can hang his hat. For Nique Clifford's unquantifiable feel for the game, I've gone with warm. I think there's pros and cons in this area, with me ultimately landing in the median range. Clifford's ascension through college basketball, and more specifically him impactfully assuming lead duties as a super senior, is not to go unnoticed. He has an obvious basketball feel as both a scorer and defender, a role player, and a go-to option. The only thing that really gives me pause here, and really on Clifford's profile as a whole, is indeed the competition level and his age. He's 23 now, will turn 24 in his rookie season, and largely dominated Mountain West competition, which a future NBA draftee would just be expected to do. One last thing that I'll touch on here though, mostly because I'm not sure where else to include it, is that Clifford is an elite rebounder for his size, 9.6 per game, which is also just an especially great skill for a wing. The CSU to NBA jump will prove to be a hard one, potentially leading to some G League or lesser minutes early, but I'm ultimately pretty confident in Clifford's eventual NBA translation. There's enough polish overall to leave one feeling pretty comfortable on Clifford. For Nique Clifford's swing skill, I haven't gotten the shooting as a whole because I feel he's proven enough as a shooter generally, but he does need to shore up the consistency within this skill. Clifford's a career 36% three-point shooter on 2.7 attempts per game, most recently shooting 38% on a great 5 attempts per game. Clifford sees the highs and lows of shooting though throughout his seasons. Several times this season, he'll have little 2 to 3 game stretches of really down shooting. 0 for 9 in 2 tournament games to end the season, 1 for 11 in a 2-game stretch in February, and an 0 for 8 streak in December. He'll certainly need to see more consistency on a game-to-game basis for NBA teams to trust rolling him out in either a starting lineup or general rotation. I'm not sure this necessarily applies to this area either, but Clifford saw some odd efficiency spread across his three-point shooting, hitting on an insane 46% from 3 as the pick-and-roll handler, but just 28% spotting up, with slightly more volume on the latter. He also shot 33% in transition and isolation, as well as 46% coming off screens. Just kind of numbers to be aware of, I guess. Overall, Clifford will need to improve from beyond the arc, which I think is in the cards given his overall trajectory. The grade. I've gone with the grade of 7.6 for CSU's Nique Clifford. That's likely to land him just outside my lottery, mostly due to liking a few upside swings just a bit more. As showcased by his chart here, he's maybe not the highest ceiling player we've seen, but is about as high floor to me as they come, offering positive impact nearly across the board, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Not every player is going to be some superstar, and even more than that, most won't be. Clifford was simply too productive at the collegiate level for me to think he'll fizzle out on the NBA court. The only real downsides, competition level and age, can sometimes be completely overblown criticisms, as we've seen plenty. We've also seen a variety of these multi-tooled wings see postseason success this year. Josh Hart, Christian Brown, etc. And having such a high floor in so many areas makes me think that Clifford is bound for long-time positive impact in an NBA rotation. I think whoever takes the chance on him is likely coming away with a great contributor for years to come. That's it for this one. Let me know what you think of Nique Clifford, what you grade him, where you draft him, and we'll see you next time.